Good evening, everyone. Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Just want to make sure you all can hear me. I had a problem a few weeks ago with my PC. Quite a few of you here already, 65. As I said, the clocks have been moved back in the UK by an hour, so we're only 4 hours ahead of the US. So yeah, I'm an hour later for my US viewers, but it's still 9 p.m. here in London. The title of my video is about the IMF. The IMF warning the world of the money spigot. So we got John Lord. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Hope you're all keeping good in these crazy times. They certainly are. I think that's all we can do is keep our heads when everyone around us loses theirs. I think it was Rudyard Kipling who said that in his poem. John the Glass. Hi, John the Glass. Hi, Spare Dime. Elon Peleg. Ben Gray. Hi, Ben Gray from Aberfan. Rumit Samaya, Ross Martingale, good evening, Ross. Dark Horse from Boston, Massachusetts. Jillian B from Perthshire. Yeah, Billy is here, he's fast asleep. Joseph, Joker Alpha, sticking on the low. Rumit Samaya, John Colorado. Great to see everyone. IMF would love to take over the monetary system with that SDR. I don't think they have a chance either, Peter. What surprised me more, if you looked at the thumbnail of my live stream, is the picture they put on their website. If you go into imf.org, is the money spigot, all the $100 bills coming out of this big spigot. And I think that's really indicative of how crazy the monetary authorities have gone. I read the article actually related to this money spigot, and it's to do with the emerging markets, or also they call frontier markets. They're below emerging markets, how they started also to do the QE like the more developed countries, and they're actually encouraging them. They're saying they need to be careful. I just think it's mad. The world's going mad. Christopher from Melbourne. I guess the time change here has helped, Christopher. It's not as early for you. We've gone back an hour. Ad Morgan says boa noite, which means good evening in Portuguese. Marcus Huber from Germany. Steve McRae. Hi, Steve. Keep stacking the sovereigns. That's right. Hey, Pablo Pina, privateer in New Mexico. Did you hear about XRP? I would love to know your opinion on that. No, Eric, I didn't hear about Ripple. I had Ripple a few years ago, but I don't own any Ripple. I didn't hear anything about Ripple. I did a video yesterday about comparing gold to Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. If you want to have my idea of cryptocurrencies, I recommend you watch it. Jeffrey Holland from upstate New York. Who else we got here? Andrew Schneider in Atlanta, Georgia. Dave from Kitchener, Canada. Hi, Dave. Admate from Australia. Jack Nichols. Arthur Quinn from Quincy, Massachusetts. I guess that's where I read the book about John Adams. That's where he was from, Quincy, Massachusetts, hence the name John Quincy Adams. Turbo Star, Lakami Denny. Yeah, I agree with Gur Olgi. My viewer from Norway, Wave 2 is here now. End times on the economy. I agree. I've said it pretty much since the beginning. It took a few weeks for me to see that this was like the non-oil crisis that Lindsay Williams talked about in this book about the energy non-crisis. And I thought they were going to use this to basically flush down the whole economy. Is it going to be orderly? I doubt it, because I think people are getting quite upset. There's demonstrations in Italy, I saw, in Spain. There are demonstrations here yesterday in London. So people are getting fed up. But reading here in Wales, they're not allowing people to buy anything but food in the supermarkets. They're covering other goods. They've got a border now between Wales and the rest of the United Kingdom. It's crazy. And I see that Italy starting more draconian lockdowns. So it's Spain, and I expect it to get worse here in London and the UK. Mr. Guppy, to avoid taxes, we're going to end up trading with each other. Yeah, that's called barter, Guppy. The powers that be don't like bartering. We can do barter. It's not a problem. You exchange value for value. Keith Maitrajak from Lincolnshire, Maitrayuk. Victor Claudio, you can have SDRs. I won't. And I won't take any UBI either. That's the key to staying sovereign, is not to be dependent on the government, to make sure you don't have to beg them for anything. That's why I've been trying to tell people over the last 5 years almost now that I've been running this channel, to try to get out of debt. We just saw, I think a couple of days ago here in the UK, they're talking about these loans that they've given to small businesses and big businesses, guaranteed by the government. Well, the banks now are going to come and they're going to hire third parties to try to get their money back before the government will pay them. So yeah, they're going to come knocking at people's doors who have borrowed money. That's why I try to avoid dealing with the devil, so to speak. So who try to see all the questions here? Richard, Marion, Billy, what can we learn from Japan and where are we going? Well, we didn't really learn from Japan, Richard. I remember back in the early 90s, Japan was already going down the wrong path. They're bailing out all the big banks. And here in the West, we used to say, in the UK and the US, Japan is doing all the wrong things. They need to let the banks fail. But we've done what Japan has done in spades, so it's not going to help our economies. I'm just not sure we're going to be able to keep our currencies as strong. And I don't think the yen has been as strong either, even though people say there's been deflation in Japan. The yen has dropped just as much versus gold as the other fiat currencies. So we haven't learned anything from Japan, and I don't think the powers that be want to learn anything. They will only learn the hard way. Okay. Hi, Jen West from Texas. Billy is a barter expert. Yeah, he loves dealing with bones and silver, as probably many of you would know. Hi, Lily Robin. Nice to see you. Yeah, Billy looks very happy knowing his silver stack is safe and growing. Gerolji, wonder what happens between now and the presidential election. I truly not believe the selection. It's not going to happen. I saw some headlines, Gerolji, in the FT, and it's talking about what's going on in the US. It seems like they're getting a lot of cases in the US. I think New York State has reached like 500,000 cases, even though, and believe me, I think this is all hyped up. It's like people are going mad over this, but be as it may, I think there will be an election. I think a lot of people have voted already in advance. I personally think Donald Trump is going to win, even though you read all the mainstream polls and stories in the mainstream media, everyone expects Biden to win. So I think there could be some trouble in the aftermath of the election. Who knows? USA, kick your ass. What do you think about Stanford's PI crypto? Never heard of it. I mean, cryptos are just software programs, really. So I think the most important thing for any crypto or software program is the network effect. If a lot of people start using it, it will do well. You could have a white paper with a crypto project, decentralized and everything. But if it doesn't catch on, it won't be successful. So that's the other thing you have to consider. I would read the white paper. I haven't looked into it. Rob Heyman says central banks didn't buy gold in the third quarter. I haven't seen the data yet, Rob, but anyway. What effect will Trump or Biden victory have on world money system? Not much. I think either one, whoever wins, we're going to continue to see loads of debt, loads of money printing. I saw a clip on YouTube from I think Fox News, and they interviewed John Toon. He's a Republican senator from I think South Dakota, and they were talking about the nomination for the Supreme Court seat. And then the reporter, I think it was Neil Cavuto, asked him, so what do you think of the stimulus? And he said, it will probably not go through before the election, but he said it's not a matter of if, it's when. So even the Republicans, it's going to come. It's not going to change. It's going to be more inflation, more currency debasement, more money printing. So it doesn't matter who wins. I think if Biden wins, it could be worse. It could be quicker. We could see, and it depends as well if the Democrats, let's say, gain power, gain the majority in the Senate, which they don't have right now, and if they keep the majority in the House. If we have a Biden and then we have a Democrat Senate and House, yeah, it could go even more ballistic. Not to say that Trump is a really good, a non-profligate president, because he is. He's going along with it. David Bradley, thank you for the super chat. Billy needs some rawhide bones and chews. Thank you, David. Yeah, he loves. He does get the shticks, dentist shticks every day for his teeth. So he likes chewing rawhide as well. DR says, watch that video, G. Edward Griffin discussing what's happening today 50 years ago. Yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it? I enjoyed that video. Yeah, I think I shared that on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. If any of you are on Twitter, just go Monaco64 there. I tweeted that. Yeah, Lily Robbins says EOS is the most used crypto, tops the charts every day. It has been for years, but yeah, a lot of people still don't know about it. It's very scalable, EOS. Trying to see all the questions here. Comrade, why doesn't Venezuela and Argentina use gold for payment? Their economies have extremely high inflation. Well, I don't think, first of all, I don't think they have that much gold. And a lot of these countries are under the thumb of the IMF and the United States. I know Venezuela, not so much. But if they started doing that, I think they get into trouble. But yeah, they could use their own currencies. They could set up swaps for their currencies and trade, or they could barter. Venezuela has oil. Argentina has foods. Like meat and agricultural goods, they could just barter. And I don't know why they don't do it. They don't have very good economic leadership. I think their politicians are basically in the pockets of big interests, unfortunately. Yeah, Mr. Gapi, copper is taking off. I saw that last week in the chart. I spoke about it. So we've got 368 people. That's not bad. Maybe a few people didn't realize that we're an hour back here in the UK. Andy Hughes says Bank of England won't return Venezuela's gold. Well, the High Court, I think Venezuela appealed and the High Court agreed with them. So we'll have to see. Mr. Fedapable, is Trump a friend of the Clintons? I don't know. I mean, you've seen, probably like me, you've seen photos of these people together. Doesn't mean they're friends. You know, a lot of these people meet each other in public. Who knows? Mr. Andy from Devon. Yeah, I saw that. UK mortgage lenders have announced an increase in their interest rates this week. How will this affect M1, M2 money supply and inflation? Yeah, I haven't really looked at the M1, M2 money supply figures for the UK in the last few weeks, but it will definitely, it could lead to higher inflation. And why is that? Well, because people are going to have to pay more for their mortgages, and it's going to increase costs as well. And it's interesting because rates in the UK are probably going to be cut to zero, even negative. But I read this could be temporary. They're raising mortgage rates because the government, again, they interfere, right? And they, even though scrapping the stamp duty tax is a good thing, they've only done it to March. And so there's been a rush to buy properties. And I think that's what they're trying to stem by raising mortgage rates. I think eventually it could come down. Who knows? But the other thing about UK and inflation I was reading this afternoon is that there's a lot of concern that the Brexit negotiations, even if we get a deal with the UK, we could see a lot of higher prices because of new tariffs, especially for foodstuffs. So that's the other thing there with the Brexit. Even if we have a deal, and I think it could be worse if we get out, go without a deal. If there's no deal, we could have higher prices in the supermarkets. Gold and oil, Monaco 64, what mining stocks are you buying? Well, I don't like to tell people really what I would say, you know, exactly what I own, but because I don't want people to think I'm like tipping people on what to buy. But I have quite a few silver miners and some gold. But I would, if I were you, what I do is I look through, for example, Sprott Asset Management, their mining holdings in their funds. I look at GDX and I just try to choose different companies, some that are not that big, market cap pretty small, some that are bigger, and try to diversify. I personally think there will be a big bull market in mining stocks, and just owning mining companies, I think, will do the job. You don't need to be very picky, even though I recommend people do their due diligence. Big Mike, are you still bullish on Bitcoin? Well, yeah, as I've said, I think Bitcoin will do well. And I have some cryptocurrencies. I have some exposure to Bitcoin, but I prefer precious metals. I did a video yesterday about that if you want to listen to what I said. But yeah, it's very volatile. We've been up to 13,000. It could go back down to 9,000 and then go back up to 20,000. But I think personally, I think there's a little bit of froth right now. A lot of how can I say, optimism about Bitcoin. So we're probably getting to near a top, a short-term top. In the long term, I think anything that has a fixed supply will do well versus fiat currencies, even though, listen to my video from yesterday. I talked about, the title was Bitcoin or gold and silver. Laird Gob Jinx, Simon Dixon would be a great on your show regarding Bitcoin. Yeah, I actually have one of Simon Dixon's funds I bought 4 years ago, Bitcoin Capital 3. So yeah, I've been following Simon Dixon and Bank to the Future for quite a while, and I've noticed he's gotten quite active on YouTube lately. Vbjorn Gritson, do you avoid coins with no stamp of the purity? Usually coins, bullion coins have the purity stamped on it, but coins like circulating coins like old sovereigns and old, pre-1933 US gold coins or European gold coins from the 19th century, they don't have the purity. But bullion coins usually have the purity. I don't think it matters if you've got the purity or not. Same thing for silver. Enrique Borns, have you watched Neil's Mac video about London? Yeah, I have. Someone sent that to me, I think yesterday, and I'm not surprised. That's not really London, Greater London. That's like the city of London, and it's not surprising because there's very few people working there right now. So, and there are no tourists. But I actually think outside of London, because you've got the square mile city of London in the West End, that's very quiet. But I think the suburbs are picking up a little more. But I still think the UK, even mainstream economists, I've read this afternoon, they think we're going to go into another recession. Not that I think we came out of the recession, but we're going to see another recession towards the end of the year and beginning of next year. Johnny O.C. Digit says, Simon Dixon thinks digital currency is coming soon. Well, we already use digital currencies. Most fiat currencies are dealt with in a digital fashion online. And I don't think just because it has a stamp of approval from a central bank that a crypto or digital currency will be any good unless it has credibility, unless it has transparency, unless it's backed by something real like gold and silver. I won't touch it. So I recommend as well, if you go onto Infowars.com, Catherine Austin Fitz did a really good interview a couple of days ago with Alex Jones. She talks a lot about the currency system. I highly recommend that. Just go into Infowars.com and you find the story. You have to scroll down a bit. Jules Davies Hines, I do live in London, yeah. Not central London, but outside London. Comrade, says, what about buying imperfect government-issued silver coins? Well, yeah, of course. You just buy silver for the weight. It doesn't matter if it's scratched. Most coins, unless you are a collector and you buy like very rare and great uncirculated coins, most coins are going to be scratched. I've been buying some silver coins on eBay and from my coin dealer in Bromley, and they're not perfect, but for example, that's florin there, has a few scratches, but it's in pretty good condition. This is from 1913, so it's sterling silver. Silver Kraken coins. Love some Kraken. I think the fund that I have with Simon Dixon, Bitcoin Capital 3, Bitcoin Capital Fund 3. In the beginning, I got quite a bit of Bitcoin dividends because they used to mine Bitcoin. I've gotten some payouts as well from companies that they sold, but we still have a big position in Kraken, the exchange. So it's a private fund, so I can't trade it. But I've gotten my money back and more, and I still have exposure to Kraken. Lily, I'm still in London. I've moved. I've moved from one part of London to another, but we definitely are thinking of moving out of London eventually in the next year or two. Right now, it's a bit difficult. Even we were thinking about Wales, but they're doing border checks now if you go in or you come out of Wales. Hi, No, nice to see you. Crypto Elf from New Mexico. Yeah, Andy Hughes. I saw that. I saw a guy. He was really angry. He went into a supermarket. He started lifting all they covered goods that you're not supposed to buy. It's really silly. He got really angry. Collectors. Yeah. No, I've said since the beginning they're going to use this as an excuse to do a lot of things. And one of them is to bring all the economies down. Catherine Austin Fitz says it's basically bringing down indebting. It's a debt trap to destroy small and companies, family-owned companies, and then give big interests like corporations free money as they're giving with all the QE, so they can come in and buy all and control the markets, not the markets, financial markets, but also all they'll take over businesses and market share. I mean, and yeah, that's what they're doing, unfortunately. And it's just like Lindsay Williams said. He wrote a book called The Energy Non-Crisis, and I said months ago that this was going to be like the oil crisis in the 70s. But so there you go. Not Joe King. Yeah, the lakes or northern Cumbria. Yeah, I think we were up there in the Lake District some years ago in April. It was beautiful, actually. It's a beautiful place. My wife likes Devon as well because she used to go there as a little girl every summer. Devon is a nice place. Money medicine. Well, the UK silver coins up until 1919, they're 925. From 1920 to 1946, I think, they're 50% silver. And after that, there's no more silver. So the majority of the UK coins I buy, like circulating coins, are pre-1920. I have Britannias as well, bullion coins. Binary Drool, do you think they will outlaw physical metals come the reset and try to have people exchange their metals for new digital currency? How do you think Bitcoin will play in this role? Well, I don't think they will do that here in the UK, and I don't really think they'll do that in the US. Maybe in the US, they'll raise capital gains tax, especially if Joe Biden wins, even though I don't think he's going to win. Here in the UK, unless they change the law, coins of the realm, like Britannias and sovereigns, they're legal tender, so you can't tax legal tender. I'm not really sure what role Bitcoin is gonna play. And we already have digital currencies. All the fiat currencies are digital anyway. A lot of the deals we do is online with cards, so they're already digital. If they bring in like a cryptocurrency, it will be decentralized. But all that will mean is that all the different central banks of the world will use it, but you and I are not going to have access to it or be able to mine it. So I will try to stay away from any digital currency brought by the powers that be. Migmat, MIGM, Angst 23, your new Bretton Woods video was excellent. It's easy to understand, so we can make the best choices possible regarding precious metals. Oh, thank you. Lily Robbins says, I think as much of your net worth as possible in precious metals. Crypto Elf, you can't compare Bitcoin to central bank digital currency or digital fiat. The only problem I have with Bitcoin is that I don't know who really created Bitcoin, and you have a lot of forks as well. I think it's more centralized than people think, but I agree you can't compare it to digital currency because there is a limit, a supply limit. That's why I don't think the central bank digital currencies are an answer. They're just trying it on because most people don't understand that it's like a scam. Not Bitcoin, but the central bank digital currencies. The only problem I have with Bitcoin, and I said yesterday in my video, is that yes, there is proof of work. People have to use a lot of computing power, a lot of electricity. It's not, I guess you can say it's not out of thin air, but you actually don't get anything in return for it. You don't get anything physical, and that's the problem I have with it. I know it has a lot, it can be transferred, but you can't really hold it like a silver coin. In 1,000 or 2,000 years, someone's not going to come and find a Bitcoin and say, wow, this is worth so much, has so much purchasing power. But I can find an old Roman coin, like a gold, an aureus coin, a gold coin, and find it out of the ground, and it's still worth something. That's the only problem I have with Bitcoin, that it's not really physical. It's virtual. People say it's digital gold, but there is no substitute to gold. It's like saying, for example, I'm a golfer and someone said, you can choose to go play Augusta National Golf Course for real. I can book you with a member, or you can choose to play the Augusta National virtual game on EA Sports. I mean, which one would I choose? So that's the way I see it. There's no substitute for the real thing, basically. But does it mean that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies can't go up in price versus the dollar? No, that doesn't mean it. They can't. But if you really want to protect your savings and your purchasing power and your wealth, I feel a lot safer with precious metals. Dave Humphrey says the kids or younger generation might choose EA Sports. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Apis Claudius, thank you for your videos and help. Oh, you're welcome. Not Joe King says, wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin is government run or another Israeli operation tracking everything illegal and non-legal. That's the only problem I have, because Mr. Nakamoto, Satoshi Nakamoto, we don't know who he is. We don't know if it's a group of people. We're told that the white paper was written in 2009, that the first Bitcoin was sent by Nakamoto in 09. But they could be working on this since the 90s. That's what Catherine Austin Fitz thinks, and she's quite well connected. Hi, Grow Mechanic, nice to see you here. Rumit Samaya says, all Indians have a little gold, but usually very small jewelry. Well, I think the World Gold Council estimates that there's about 198,000 metric tons of gold above ground in the world, and 47% of it is all in jewelry. So the public owns a lot more gold than the central banks. They only own 17%. And I bet a lot of that gold is owned by Indians. Marvin Flyer says, I may be tech challenged, but I never bought a Bitcoin. And I found an old Roman bronze coin years ago and converted it to some silver at a coin shop for $30. David Bradley ahead of the Masters. Yeah, Masters is going to be in November this year, which is strange. Bryson DeChambeau has a new driver, and he's averaging 403 yards. It's crazy how far he hits it. I'm playing tomorrow morning. I didn't play this weekend because the weather hasn't been nice, but tomorrow morning is supposed to be nice. Playing at 10 o'clock. I will have time to do my video early on, which is good. Golden Gate, have you ever listened to Jeff Bezos? He really has a pretty inspiring background. Please comment. Thank you. I've never listened to Jeff Bezos. All I know about Jeff Bezos is that he used to work for D.E. Shaw, which was like a investment bank on Wall Street. Then he left that company, and he got his parents put $300,000 down to help him found Amazon, but I haven't really listened to him. A lot of people think that Amazon is a proprietary company. What does that mean? Well, that it's backed by the deep state. So there you go. Luder says we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Yeah, that's what FDR said back in the 30s during the Great Depression. I agree with that statement. That you can't let them put you in a state of fear. I think that's what they're trying to do. I know things are really difficult mentally, but you just need to try to avoid all the noise. That's why I don't watch the news anymore. I do read the papers, but more to look at what things are going on, what's going on in the markets and things like that, economics. I mean, if we didn't have access to the internet or television, would we know there's a crisis out there? No. So that's the thing. You got to try to get rid of the television and stop watching the news. Fool Hope says there's a Trezor Ledger scam email going around. Yeah, those are private wallets or hard wallets for cryptocurrencies. That's the other reason why I think cryptocurrencies are kind of tricky for people who don't keep on top of new updates, updating wallets and software. If you buy a Bitcoin and have a wallet and leave it for 5 years, if you go back, you find that you might not be able to access it. You have to update everything, and it's not as with a coin. It doesn't matter. You don't have to update it. You just hold it. Jay Northrop, I don't think The Dollar Vigilante got deleted from YouTube. I listened to a video he did last week, and he actually said that he deleted the channel himself and that he was going to go back onto YouTube. So I think it was just a coincidence that the day he did that, a lot of channels were taken down. One that I really liked was Amazing Polly. She was taken down. I think it's pretty bad, all the censoring. Yeah, I cover more markets and economics, and I do talk about what they consider controversial subjects once in a while. I did a video, I think it was Friday or Thursday. I think it was Friday, and I brought up a lot of controversial subjects. I talked about Dr. F, the guy who's in charge of the health crisis in the US. And the advertising revenue I had for that video was like a third of what I usually get, which was weird. So you can see that they didn't demonetize my video, but I got very little revenue. But my view is that helping people remain sovereign and independent financially, and by that I don't mean to say that I think everyone should be rich and that you should be greedy, and it's just protecting what you've been able to build up and trying to also protect what you're building up if you're younger. That's what I'm trying to do. And also, I think if we can try to avoid working with these people, being part of their system, giving the banks rope by using their services, if we can avoid that, we can go a long way into defeating these people through the pocketbook. Paul Weens, I think, yeah, from Central Canada. Much enjoy your videos and learn lots. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome. Johnny OC, Raul Paul, Real Vision, heavily irresponsibly invested in Bitcoin, question mark. Well, yeah, I've seen he's very bullish on Bitcoin. I don't know how much, what percentage of his net worth he's got in Bitcoin. I think he's a pretty wealthy individual, but I'm not sure. I think greed might be getting the better of him. Who knows? But I'm not gonna, he's a successful guy, so he knows what he's doing, I think. And the other thing about Raul Paul is that he's offshore. I think he's somewhere in the Caribbean in an offshore tax haven. So I think a lot of his wealth is protected. It's in offshore tax havens. But for people living not that don't have their wealth protected by tax havens, that's the other thing. At least here in the UK, for example, if you have Bitcoin and you make huge capital gains, you're going to be liable for capital gains tax. While with gold and silver, if you have sovereigns and Britannias, no capital gains. And I'm sure that's similar in other countries. Yeah. Hello says Real Vision are brilliant. Well, that's good. Andy Hughes, Schiff is a free market gold legend. Of course, they're going to try to kill his reputation. Yeah, I've seen some news about that, about his bank in Puerto Rico. But yeah, I'm not going to comment on it. And I've seen that he's made rebuttals about it. So I'll take his word for it. One, two, three, no scope, capital gains on gold. It's been flat for decades. Well, not here. Well, I don't know what gold you're looking at. It's gone from $35 an ounce 45 years ago, or almost 50 years ago, to now almost 2,000. In the UK, it's gone from 200 pounds 15 years ago. We're now almost at 1,500. So I don't know what gold price you're looking at. 1, 2, 3, no scope. 45 minutes already. Okay. 1, 2, 3, no scope. Gold is centralized. Not really. 40% of all the gold ever mined is owned in jewelry. So by hundreds of millions, if not billions of people own gold. You can say the same thing about Bitcoin. Did I freeze? No, no. Yeah, Victor Claudia, I haven't watched that video yet. I will watch it. Peter Schiff's video. V. Bjorn Gritton, why did they help China buy cheap gold for so long? Well, there's a lot of speculation about, I think in the 30s when the Chinese royal family had to leave China because the Japanese invaded. There's talk that the Chinese government, royal family, like a monarchy, safeguarded their gold. They gave their gold to the Federal Reserve or the US to safeguard it, and they never got it back. So maybe there's some kind of agreement. What's his name? Bush Sr. went to China with Kissinger and Nixon. They opened up China again. So we never know. Maybe it's all about allowing China back into the system, and they didn't have as much gold. So, and they have a trade surplus. So if you're going to have a big trade surplus, you don't want to hold on to too many dollars. So what are you going to get? The only thing you can really get, the best money, is gold. Tony Vega, quantum financial system. Yeah, I think it's the former. It starts with a B. I've had people ask me about that. Yeah, I think it's like just fantasy and speculation. The best system really is your own financial system, being your own central bank. There you go, having precious metals, not being too beholden to the bankers, having no debt. That's the best system, in my opinion. Christopher, did you see the video, how gold is not a cost of living hedge, yesterday by Bell and GP? I saw it, but I haven't watched it yet. I like Bell and GP. I've interviewed him once or twice on my channel. I haven't really seen too many of his videos pop up lately, but I will look at that one. Zero Hedge, a reliable source. I look at it, but I think it used to be a lot better about 12 years ago when they started out. But and they've been shadow banned, so to speak, by the search engines. So I think, and it depends who writes on Zero Hedge and whose articles they put there. Luis Claudio, do you know Mike Maloney? Yeah, I've listened to, I've known about Mike Maloney for years. I've seen his videos years ago. Yeah, he's a good analyst, and he's into precious metals as well. Dave Humphreys says, I think next year when the governments have to print more and more, is clear we're not out of this, then gold and silver will go. Right now, I see a lot of risk. Risk to what, Dave? I mean, I think the risk, the really big risk, is having fiat currency, not gold and silver. I don't think, in this environment to wait for a pullback of $50 or $5 in silver, I think is a very risky strategy, because I think you need to have the protection. I think we're going to start seeing the money printing very soon, even before the end of the year. Lily Robbins says Mike Maloney lives in Puerto Rico for tax reasons. Same for Peter Schiff. Yeah, I mean, it looks like Puerto Rico is offshore tax haven. London, as well, for example, for foreigners, it's a tax haven as well. That's why there's so many Russians and oligarchs living in London. But for people who are domiciled here, we pay normal tax. Lorraine Weymouth, do you think things will keep going for another 6 months of printing? Yeah, they can't stop, Lorraine. They can't stop printing the fiat currency, or else everything is going to implode. But there comes a point that people might lose confidence in the fiat currency, and that's when you get the flight to real goods. That's when you get the hyperinflation, the loss of confidence. They might be able to keep going for another 6 months. Hello, do you reckon a housing crash in London around the corner? What I see is like it's going to be very hard to eventually to buy or sell properties. There will be no market. The prices themselves are going to be irrelevant, I think, if the currency goes down the tubes. So just having property is a good thing, unless, of course, you've got a lot of debt, like a big mortgage. Having real assets, be them property or precious metals, is a good thing in this environment, I think. I'm not saying you should go out and buy property to make a killing, but it will protect your wealth. Yeah, I think we need to start looking at things differently. It's not about price anymore, even though I do expect fiat currencies to drop against real things, and that will mean higher gold prices, but it's not gold going up. And I think we're in the environment that you just want to protect what you have, and you might even benefit from it. But I don't think we're in an environment where you buy this to make a killing and then sell it to get back into fiat currencies. I think it's a very dangerous time. That's the way I see it. It is completely different. We're going into a new world in terms of, I think it's value that matters these days, and not price. Joker Alpha, thank you for the super chat. How is deflation bad for the economy? Isn't deflation good for fiat currency and bad for precious metals? Well, deflation is actually the decrease in the money supply. That's when you retire debt, you get less money in the fiat currency system. That's when you get deflation. Usually that leads to lower prices. But the kind of deflation they talk about nowadays is like a collapse of the economy. Why is it good for precious metals? Well, because a lot of companies will go out of business. A lot of banks will collapse. So gold actually does better in a deflationary collapse than actually in inflation. In the 1930s, depression, homestake mining went up 500% in the 1930s. But yeah, there's a lot of confusion about deflation and inflation. In the purely monetary sense, we've got inflation because the money supply has been rising, and that leads to higher prices, be it of stocks, commodities. Right now, commodities prices haven't gone up yet. It doesn't mean to say we don't have inflation. I don't think we've had deflation in a very long time. And by deflation, I mean the shrinkage of the money supply. And in the fiat money system, and especially where we are right now, that's not something they want to happen because it would collapse the system. And that's why they're continuing to do QE to replace the lost money supply from the private sector, from the commercial private banking sector. So we're almost getting to the hour mark. Mr. Guppy, I've measured my costs over the last year, and indeed, inflation, well, prices, Mr. Guppy, prices are up somewhere around 20%. There you go. Mike Cron from Sacramento. Hi, Mike. Nice to see you here. Catfish Customs. If you had no money for precious metals, do you believe at this point you should hone your skills if you have a trade like plumbing, electrical, mechanics? Of course. I think you should do that at any time, really. A skill is just as valuable as having precious metals because you can borrow that skill, of course. And that's what I try to do with my YouTube channels. I try to inform people of what I've learned from having worked in the financial markets, from having done a lot of research and studying about the monetary system and history. That's what I try to do. That's my skill, trying to inform people. Your skill might be in something else. Lily Robin, I started watching JSNP 4 and Bix Clear, but haven't and Cliff, haven't watched them in years now. Yeah, once in a while I still watch JSNP 4. Bix Weir, I haven't watched in years either. And Cliff High, I used to like watching him, but I haven't watched him either. I used to buy the Alta reports. He doesn't do those anymore. Dave Humphreys, check out Orosur Mining. It's a UK listed company. I will. That means Southern Gold, I guess, in Spanish. Orosur. Jim Diggs says, my skill is sitting on the couch watching YouTube videos. I do a bit of that too. Mike G, glad to talk to you again. Hold on your cash. Make sure your precious metals is in a safe place. Yeah, that's right. I won't hold on to too much cash though. Dave Humphreys, Myra, can you not see a market pullback on the horizon? Do you mean the stock market or precious metals? I mean, precious metals, we already seen a pullback from almost 2,100 to, I think the low was, I'm not sure what it was, 18. Was it just below 1,800? I'm not sure. So I think we've seen the pullback. What we're seeing now is a consolidation. So got another minute, maybe one or two more questions. Vbjorn Gritton says, without a free market, it's difficult to know what skills you need for a job. But you could have your own skills that you're good at, I think. Rumit Samaya says, Sunak says retrain, but how's that feasible with uncertainty? Yeah, the government is ruining things right now because they're making a big, like a tempest out of a drop in a teacup out of this crisis. and they're like shutting everything down, and they're not allowing people to go on with their lives. And all the help, supposed help they're giving to people, that's just like taking from people's production in the future. That's what they're doing. They're borrowing and stealing the future production of people to buy votes. And I think it's bad. We have too much government. I long for the day, or the day I want to see is when the Chancellor of the Exchequer stands up in Parliament to give the budget, and it's like 10 seconds because it's a small budget and the government is small. I don't like the fact that the budget speeches last for an hour. I want to see the time of the budget speech come down. Yeah, David Bradley, the national debt clock is going crazy. That's right. Okay, everyone. Thank you again for showing up, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the live stream. And if you have any ideas for the live stream, also make sure you comment during the week in my videos. Give me some more ideas, something that you might want to cover. And again, thank you very much. Billy says hello. Billy, say hello. There you go. Billy's saying goodbye. All right, everyone. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.